Ever been in a room and felt less than and felt like you weren't supposed to be there? Maybe you're the youngest in the room or someone with the least amount of experience. Maybe you didn't go to that prestigious school, or maybe you're not as accomplished or skilled as the rest of the people in the room. Or maybe it's something else that makes you feel less than. So you start to doubt yourself. You have what's known as imposter syndrome, a phenomenon characterized by feelings of inadequacy and inferiority despite apparent success. Studies show that 80% of people have experienced imposter syndrome at some point in their lives. So if you're watching this, chances are you've experienced this. So today, we're looking at how imposter syndrome plays out in Robert's character from Industry on HBO. And don't worry, we're also going to go over tips on how to overcome imposter syndrome as well. This is Imposter Syndrome in the corporate world. Set in London, Industry follows recent grads as they navigate the many pitfalls of the investment banking world. The grads are exposed to highly stressful situations and are forced to make decisions that can affect the rest of their lives. And I know season 3 is out now, but today's video is just focusing on seasons 1 and 2. So let's go. Stay tuned for future videos on future seasons. The thing about Robert is that he doesn't have a solid sense of who he is. This leads him to act scared and timid and not confident enough to take initiative.
Don't think I've not noticed you haven't made a single outgoing call since we've been back. That you? The coward Robert Ford?
I'm not scared.
Which leads to people not taking him seriously when he tries to assert his boundaries.
If you want to fucking talk about this now, talk about it. Otherwise, let's just put a pin in it.
Dude. Please.
I just want you to have a bright future, man. I don't think she's the one.
He tends to place a lot of importance on superficial metrics of success, like money and the fancy toys that it can buy you.
What? What's the point unless you spend it, eh?
Now, why is he like this? It all goes back to his childhood.
Yeah, we moved down from Hull when I was a kid, my dad's work. I think that's why my mum wanted me to get in so badly. But she died around the time I had my interviews, and it's funny, like, all I remember is that I needed to get in.
Yeah.
You know, like it was the only way I could think to honour her. Something. And my dad didn't give two fucks. He's not really made for this sort of stuff. Probably why she left him.
Growing up, he wasn't loved in a proper way from either of his parents. He doesn't really have a good relationship with his father, for one.
Boy, can I get some service, please?
Dressed up for me, good looking suit.
Cheers.
You should have told me you were coming, I'd have cleared me evening.
Yeah, well, I'm here now.
I'm working now.
All right, well then, pour me a fucking drink then.
I'm just serving someone.
Well, look, this is enough for our drink, this cunt's drink, and everyone in here's next round. So have a drink with me.
Excuse me?
Bob, I'll have a fucking drink with you when I'm done serving and I've finished up.
I didn't have to come see you, you know. Serve this chap here then.
I am. It's what I'm doing.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah, can you bring me a bottle of champagne as well, yeah, Dad? I know you got a dusty one around here somewhere, so let's dig it out.
How would you know? Never came in here when you were here.
Can you just get it, yeah? Serve this one here, and then get it.
Chill out, mate.
And with his mother, it always felt like there's nothing he could ever do to make her proud. And so this leads to him constantly trying to impress people, constantly feeling like he's less than. And unfortunately, this leads to him getting played with and taken advantage of by nearly every woman in his life.
Jesus. Excuse us, drive. Can you stop?
No, I meant Victoria back.
Colo Torre, by the way.
Oh, good man.
I just want you to have a bright future, man. I don't think she's the one.
Just take this next scene, for example. It just shows how low he thinks of himself and how this shows up in the relationships between him and those around him.
I don't think I would have debased myself in quite the same way if I thought that,
I would have let you fuck me.
well, I hoped it would have been a more mutual experience. If I thought that I was on your level, you were very good at making me feel like I wasn't. And honestly, I would have eaten broken glass to have had my head between your legs just once.
Furthermore, his lack of self-knowledge makes him susceptible to Nicole's dark triad manipulation.
Yeah, okay. Look, why don't you call me when you know who you are and who you're talking to?
Nicole, another high-earning, high-net worth individual that trades through Peerpoint. So Nicole and Rob, they start messing around. And Nicole is a straight predator. Nicole preys on young people who works at Peerpoint and basically uses them for her own physical gratification. For someone like Robert, who doesn't know himself or doesn't have that strong sense of self, and who has mommy issues and daddy issues, basically for someone who has issues with upbringing, he falls susceptible to that kind of manipulation. And so through starting a inappropriate relationship, she's created an environment where she has the power and he is powerless. As someone who's older, more experienced, and his client, power imbalance that is further perpetuated by that very fact. This is why self-knowledge is so important. Not just for protecting yourself against dark triad manipulation, but for life in general. Otherwise, it's like driving with no navigation, driving with no GPS. You're just lost, wandering, no sense of direction. You gotta know yourself. And so this next scene right here just completely explains their whole dynamic.
There must be nothing more terrifying to you than going home.
The fuck do you know about me?
Well, I know you intimately.
Don't flatter yourself.
No, I know you. See, because you're just like my mother, right? She was an unfillable void of need too.
Well, that explains you then.
You know, I've been trying to understand how a predator like you know, for every one of the people that you use who recoils when you touch them, there might be someone like me who sees you and reciprocates, and just for a little bit, you get to live.
But the irony is that he also gets to live through this as well, through this type of dynamic, because he gets some of his unresolved needs fulfilled as well.
Predator. Is that the person you know? God, you kids. I get a bit pissed, I get a little bit handsy. Oh, you act like the fucking world's ending.
Yeah, but those other kids don't get to see your bedroom, do they? And let me tell you, from the privileged position of you letting me in, it's the loneliest fucking place I've ever seen. It's the loneliest place I've ever been in.
And you felt so at home.
I just want you to have a bright future, man. I don't think she's the one.
Go on then, fuck off. Or are you done being a victim?
Good boy. See, you want me to.
Because in his mind, he likens her to his mother. He literally calls her mom.
Mommy?
It's not even funny, but it's ironic. It's ironic. It's like he's so used to feeling so alone from that motherly parental figure that he feels right at home, because that's how it was growing up with him and his mother. Wow, that's just chef's kiss. That's just the cherry on top. That's just the icing on the cake. And it's like, damn. In some ways, I relate to Robert a lot, because, I mean, not that I have that strange type of relationship between me and my mom, but just the, you know, growing up and not having a very affectionate motherly figure. I don't even know if I'll include this part, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just not having that motherly affectionate figure really, you know, growing up was very distant, you know what I mean? I knew she cared and things like, yeah, I might not even include this because this is a little bit too personal. I was a little bit too personal. Anyway, yeah, so and then of course, just as a dog returns to his vomit, Robert returns to Nicole. That's tough, bro. And then he goes back to her, which is like, oh, bro. I'm pissed because I see myself a lot in Robert. He reminds me of the parts of myself that I don't like, that I hate. Sometimes I struggle with how I see myself. I struggle with and have struggled with setting boundaries in the past. Not speaking up for myself when I know I should. When it comes to injustices against me, I would beat myself up over it and be mad at myself for not standing up for myself. It was like I was at war with myself. And I know it takes a lot to be able to forgive yourself. Way easier said than done, I know. But that's the first step if you want to become whole again. How you going to win if you ain't right within? So once you forgive yourself for your past mistakes and no longer continuing to beat yourself up over the mistakes of the past, then you'll be able to get to a point where you're able to enforce those boundaries with confidence and poise. So what we learned from Robert is that the importance of self-knowledge is critical when dealing with these dark triads. It's like, nah, I was just playing. You really thought I was gonna leave y'all hanging and not offer any solutions? Don't worry, I got y'all. Y'all need a YouTuber that can provide. I'm a high value YouTuber, you know what I'm saying? So now let's talk about actual strategies on how to overcome imposter syndrome. Number one would be to seek the counsel of a mental health professional. Now I know that it is a privilege to be able to seek that right now. Everybody's struggling financially, but that is the first step because there's no one YouTube video that will be able to unpack your childhood trauma and the experiences that you went through that led to you experiencing imposter syndrome today. I understand that everyone's experience is going to be different. Number two would be to reframe your perspective. Imagine you're a tree in a forest. Right now, you may feel less than because you're not growing as tall as the other trees, right? But the thing is, you may already be 500 feet tall and not even recognize your own growth. But at the same time, I get it. How do you recognize your own growth without comparing yourself to something, to those around you? The key here is to recognize that you've grown taller than you were yesterday, but you can't see that growth. You don't notice when you grow. You can only notice when you look back at how you were yesterday, last month, last year. Last year, you were 450 feet tall. Now you're 500 feet tall. You've grown in that amount of time. Just because you're focused on comparing yourself to everyone else, you don't even recognize your own growth. So lose this mindset of being in competition with other people and feeling like you gotta outdo them or be better than them. You're only in competition really with yourself. Focusing on being better 1% each day will compound over time. Now, number three is to be patient with yourself. You didn't grow 500 feet tall overnight. It takes time. It takes seasons, going through cycles of summer, winter, fall, spring, etc. There are going to be periods where you're not growing, like in the winter. Then there are going to be seasons where you're able to spring and blossom and really grow, like in the spring and the summer. So you have to be mindful of the cyclical nature of growth and allow yourself to go through those cycles, those ups and downs, those ebbs and flows of life, and be patient with yourself when you're in those seasons. And number four, of course, is to stop comparing yourself. Stop looking to other people and feel like you got to one up them. Because again, you're only in competition really with yourself. Are you better than you were yesterday? Then you're on the right track. And that's all that really matters for real. You're on your way. Just keep going. You got this. And number five is to keep evidence of your growth. Keep track of all the positive feedback you receive on your work, whether that be texts, emails. Make a note of when your boss or superior tells you you've done good work. That way, when you have those thoughts of doubt, you're able to shut that down with the evidence. You literally have the receipts to back it up. Now, I've definitely experienced imposter syndrome before. When I was in college, I was part of the Posse Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization that recruits and sends students in groups of roughly 10 to top colleges and universities across the nation. Now, it's a full tuition leadership scholarship. During the interview process, I remember them asking what was the most stressful, hardest thing you've been through in your life that you've overcome. And I told them my sob story. And then I remember after I got the scholarship, I remember feeling like, damn, if I hadn't went through that, I wouldn't have gotten the scholarship. And maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I shouldn't have got it. Maybe I'm not good enough. I remember telling my posse this and they reassured me. Shout out to Dez. He was like, yeah, there was this other guy who had this crazy soft story, but he didn't get chose. So he was basically saying like there was something that they saw in you that they chose you. So don't feel like just because you've gone through hardship that makes you a victim or that makes you less than. You're still worthy of the success that you've achieved, no matter what hardships you've been through. So shout out to Dez for that. It's my dog. Posse staff, they saw certain qualities within us that led them to believe we would be good leaders. And they were right too, because when I actually got to college, we went to Bucknell University, me and my posse, out of the DC office. Shout out to Damo and Brittany as well. So when I got to Bucknell, I decided to start a guitar club, and it was called AMSO. We would do performances at different events on campus, have weekly jam sessions on Friday evenings, and I just recruited people, just talk to people about it, just spread the word, started an Instagram page. And I would organize rehearsals, delegate with the rest of the members to decide what songs we would perform. And so Basically, Posse was right. They saw and identified qualities within me that made me a good leader. And there I was starting my own club, leading my own club. So all in all, this whole experience has taught me the importance of having that tribe, having that posse, having a board of directors, whatever you want to call it. Having that group of people around you to help uplift yourself, and you also help them as well. So it'll be a mutually beneficial exchange. Very important. There's a quote that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And Posse as an organization is just a testimony to that. So yeah, find your posse, find your group of people, find your board of directors, find your tribe, find people. Now you might be saying, it's hard to find friends, XYZ. But listen, join clubs, start your own club. If you're in school right now, start a club, join a club, whatever you're into, surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that share the same interests and hobbies as you. Stop just going to work, come home. Stop just going to school, go straight home. Going to school, go straight home, and then watching Netflix or playing video games all day, not socially interacting with people, and then wonder why you're alone. You gotta go places. You gotta look up events in your area. You gotta join events, join clubs and communities, bro. Now, if you're in a tough position where you have to work 3 jobs and you literally have no time, all right, then that's different. That would be a different category. You know what I'm saying? I get that. I recognize that free time, to even have free time, is a luxury, especially in this economy. So those are my tips for overcoming imposter syndrome. Comment down below if I left anything out, and stay tuned for future videos on industry, psychological breakdowns on film and media. Thanks for watching.